Hi everyone, I'm Stormi the Folf, and today I thought I'd give advice and talk about how to properly commission a furry artist. Now the term artist can refer to many things like a musician, an actor, a sculptor, or a fursuit maker. Now, in this case, we're going to be discussing art that focuses on a visual representation of your persona. Let's get started. As I mentioned before in my video on how to get a fursuit, you'll first need a persona. They can't guess what your persona will look like. If you don't know what that is, a persona is a character or a persona typically based on an animal, often a fictional breed or a species of sorts, that you yourself created or at least own. Hopefully that makes enough sense. For example, one of the most popular persona species are wolves, but your persona could also be a rabbit or a bear or a lion, a dragon, or even a hybrid of two species or more, like this Folf right here. A Folf is a fox-wolf hybrid. And of course, there are also closed species like Dutch angel dragons, but that subject goes a bit beyond the scope of this video. I'll cover this another time, as well as how to make a persona. Anyway, once you have a persona, you'll need to have a reference sheet made for your persona. A reference sheet is a guide that allows the artist to understand the anatomy, physical characteristics, and in some cases the personality of your persona. It helps them understand things like the shape of your ears, how tall your character is, eye color, specific markings, whether your persona is a wolf or a cat, things like personality traits, and so on. This is an extremely important asset to obtain for your persona because many artists and suit makers will not accept your commission without one. It's an essential element for any persona that you want to invest your time in. So, before you have any art commissioned of your persona, you'll need to have a reference sheet made first. Where do you get this reference sheet? We'll get to that in just a little bit. Now, it's time to look for a furry artist. There's a huge abundance of extremely talented furry artists all over the world, but who do you choose? Where do you go? And what if you don't have any money? Let's start by opening a social media application like Facebook, Twitter, Furry Amino, or even Telegram. Search for a furry art group. Take a look and see if anyone is currently offering art commissions. Many artists have a queue and may not be immediately available to accept a request. It's important to keep this in mind. If you don't see anyone immediately available for a commission, just send them a request. Post on the group's Facebook group wall or in the Amino group, and so on. Once you're able to find someone, ask the artist if they have a portfolio or if they have any previous commission examples they may have created for previous customers. You'll want to get a sense of the artist's style before you just choose the first artist you see. Spend some time scouting for an artist that you personally feel would suit the style of your persona. It's very important to take your time here. It's important to be patient with the artist as well. Many artists already have queues, and if, say, you live in the United States and the artist lives in the UK, they might be asleep while you try to message them because they live in a different time zone. In general, don't expect any artist to be available at all hours of the day. They have a life like most other people. Like they have to go to school, they have to go to work, and all those other things. Now, once you've settled on an artist, it's time to get down to brass taxes. Money. It's only natural that artists expect to be compensated for their work. While there are a few furry artists out there who might draw your persona for free, the old saying, "you get what you pay for," will often apply in this regard. Of course, there are exceptions to this rule. You might get lucky and find a talented artist who will provide your reference for free, but in most cases, that's probably not going to happen. If you're curious, however, look up free furry art groups on Facebook or Furry Amino, but I strongly suggest getting paid art, or at least asking a friend who would be willing to draw your persona. Now that doesn't mean beg them, mind you. Now before your reference sheet artist can do anything, you need to send them as many details as you possibly can about your persona. You'll want the artist to draw your persona so that it accurately represents how you imagine them. This is extremely important, and you really need to take your time here. For example, if you don't know what color your persona's eyes should be, or if you haven't settled on whether you're a wolf, or a fox, or a potato, or whatever, do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Stop right now. It's time to stop! You need to get all of these details worked out first before you bother any artist, otherwise you'll just waste their time. I'm not saying this to be mean, but artists already have queues in general. They're always busy with their own work. They can't just guess what your persona looks like. They exist for your business, not to goof around with small talk. If you stay on good terms with an artist, they'll earn your trust and maybe someday even offer you discounted commission work. Anyway, let's get back on topic. Expect to spend anywhere from $20 to $100 for a reference sheet. But I would say on average, most reference sheets cost anywhere from like $25 to $50-ish. Now, depending on your situation, this might seem like a lot of money, but it's pretty much a requirement to have a reference sheet if you ever intend on commissioning any artist or suit maker. Don't expect free art. Many artists are just trying to make a living, or at least try to keep the bills paid. And don't guilt trip them into giving you free art. This can put you on a one-way ticket to a furry beware list. A beware list is a repository of commissioners and artists who have earned, unfortunately, a negative reputation in the fandom. Ending up on here can really screw over your chances of earning trust with an artist. Also, most artists expect a payment up front before they begin the work, but I have worked with a few artists who don't ask for payments until after they've completed the commission, or at least until they've got the outline down, for example. Now, if the commission is relatively expensive, say $100 or more, you might be able to get on a payment plan, which would allow you to make payments every other week, or if it's really expensive, maybe once a month, like for a fursuit. If you're sending payments through PayPal, always choose goods and services. This will cover most issues that may take place during the transaction. If you send the money through friends and family, PayPal is not going to cover you if something goes wrong. Of course, if you're confident in your own artistic abilities, you could just make your own reference sheet, but this is a subject I'd have to cover in a later video. After you've paid for your commission, your artist should give you an expected finish date, or at least a rough estimate on when your reference sheet might be completed. If they don't be afraid to ask. In my opinion, this should be common courtesy, unless the artist explicitly stated otherwise in an agreement or in a contract. And that is very important. Always read the contracts or the agreements if the artist has one. And it's only natural to expect an ETA when you're paying money for something like this, especially if it's a really expensive commission. I find that most artists will at the least give you a start date on when they'll begin on the commission, but getting a due date is often a rough estimate because you never know how long a complex commission like a complicated fursuit project might take to finish. But I digress. Once you've received your reference sheet, you can start commissioning pretty much any kind of visual art you can imagine for your persona. A fursuit badge is an excellent place to start. Having a badge is a fantastic way to represent your persona, especially at conventions. And now that you've established trust with an artist, you could ask them if they'd be willing to make a badge for you. If they're not available or they don't want to make the badge, that is okay. There are a ton of talented artists in the furry fandom, as I mentioned before. Social media groups are your friend for this, like Twitter, Facebook groups, Furry Amino, DeviantArt, Picarto, and so on. Or if you have any furry friends, just ask them who they commission. And of course, you can get more than just a badge made for your persona. You can get sketches, drawings, icons, stickers, t-shirts, posters, paintings, animations, comics, bracelets, fursuits, kigus, plushies, and so much more. The possibilities are pretty much endless. And then there are also things like YCH or your character here you can partake in, which are basically templates which allow an artist to easily portray your persona in a Pacific pose, situation, and so on. Artists may also list these as auctions, but that's a whole nother story for another video. Okay, so you finally got your reference sheet, you finally got some art of your persona. So what should you do next? Get more art, of course. I find that once you make a persona, commissioning art can be an addiction, and unfortunately all that money is going to add up. It's important to moderate yourself and budget everything appropriately. If you want more art but you can't afford it, there are groups where you can get free art commissions, but don't expect instant results or ideal results. In my experience, most artists who are willing to do free art are either inexperienced and they're trying to gain experience, they're just trying to gain practice, or it's for a contest that you got lucky and you somehow happen to win, or the artist just happens to like you or your persona so much that they give you a free commission. Or maybe it's your birthday, maybe it's Christmas, or something. I don't know. Whatever the case may be, it's very rare to get free, top-notch quality furry art unless you win in a contest of sorts. You usually get what you pay for, but there are certain circumstances where you can luck out. And again, you could try to draw your persona. Even if you have no experience, it's a great place to start. Anyway, I hope you all found this video helpful, informative, and I hope to God I didn't overlook something important, and knowing my luck, I probably did. I am just waiting for the angry comments any second now. If you enjoyed this video or found it helpful, consider giving it a like, maybe leave a comment, subscribe, share, and if you have any questions on other topics in the furry fandom, let me know. I might just make a video on it. Anyway, I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye!